Good evening, good morning, and good night, everybody. Welcome to Visual Disturbance. We are doing another Finding Bigfoot on Google Earth. Episode 2, out of the gate, we are going to explore, once again, the state of Kentucky, my home state. My home state where I was born and raised. Last time we explored Shelby County, Kentucky, Nicholasville area, and not too far from my neck of the woods. But before we get into today's program broadcast, I think Sasquatch has got to say something again. So check this out. See what I had to say. I had to ask a question to Sasquatch. So check this out. Yo, Bigfoot, this is a quick spill and rhyme. Spiracy Con's a place. It's a truth seeking time. What you got to say, Bigfoot, about that?
Let me tell you, you don't want to miss Spiracy Con 2025. Dang, I stink.
And, well, guess what? SpiracyCon.com, August the 22nd, 23rd. It's going to be a fun event at the Convention Center at Cave City, Kentucky. Be glad to see you if you get to come out there and join us for SpiracyCon 2025, August. So, Facebook corner of the screen, QR code, right-hand corner, website for SpiracyCon. So, join us for SpiracyCon, and it's well worth the ticket price. Ticket prices, 2-day pass, Friday, Saturday. Get to see all kinds of different things. A lot of different diverse speakers for SpiracyCon. So, with that being said, we are back once again here, Visual Disturbance, Google Earth Imagery, Kentucky, the good old state of Kentucky once again. Last time on episode 1, it was Nicholasville, Kentucky, Shelby County, not too far from my neck of the woods. But here we are once again. We're trying to find, like I asked last time, are we looking for Sasquatch figure, aka Bigfoot? Or are we just looking for a crazy man running around naked in the woods with a hairy blanket? That's just a little fun plug-in. Let's just jump in. If you're just now tuning into Visual Disturbance, this is our second one out of the gate as far as finding Bigfoot on Google Earth Imagery. And I will just say, let me explain. I can go all over the 50 states or 50 plus states of America, and I can go from 1799 all the way up to the account of 2016. That's as far as I can go, even though that's 9 years ago. But you can see on the screen, you see the indicator tags that just popped up. All those are Bigfoot sightings, okay? So we're in the Appalachian Mountain region, and you can see that it's inundated with a ton of different areas to talk about Sasquatch. So let's just jump into it, and let's find a random place in Kentucky. Let's go to 1993, maybe close to the Versailles area, Versailles, Kentucky area. A little bit further from Nicholasville on the western side. So let's get into it. Let's go to Versailles, Kentucky. Let's check this out. The account is in Anderson County, 1993, fall of October. So the location is a farm, and the nearest town is Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. The nearest road is a bypass 127. I know that area very, very well. Let's just see what happened during this event. The appearance of this thing was just as I have seen on the TV stories and descriptions I have heard. And as far as the behavior of it, it was very shy as it appeared to not want to be seen. My son had been deer hunting on a local farm. When time came to leave, we met up and started back to my truck. About 50 yards down our path, we heard something coming out of a cedar thicket, and we both saw it. It stood up, and here we go again, folks. Totally different narrative, totally different time frame. 1993 here. 8 foot tall. That's the character, the name of the Sasquatch from last episode. It's ironic. Here we go. We got another 8 foot taller. 8 foot taller. 8 foot taller, watch the holler, 8 foot tall and had long brown hair all over it. We stopped, and it stopped at the same time. We didn't know what to do or say, but it just stepped back into the thicket and went out of sight. We got back to the truck as fast as we could, but we could hear something following us in the whole time. But it did stay completely out of sight. I haven't told many people about this because, well, they always laugh at us or start making jokes. I know I never forgot it as long as I live. It was really scary. That thing was huge. And then also, there's just a few commentary here. They forgot to stay above. We did hear it following us on the way back of the truck, but staying completely hidden from view. And then other witnesses said that my son, we had been hunting the deer and going back to my truck, et cetera, et cetera. And they're talking about the time, the conditions. The weather was fair, but cool. The time of the day was a half an hour before dark. And yeah, and the environment was a 100-acre farm that they grew up, prime hunting area for deer. Really no landmarks that stood out. It's very dense. So here we have Anderson County, not too far from Versailles, Kentucky. Nearest town, Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. We have an account of an 8-footer once again. And, you know, my 2 cents here speaking about it. It reminds me of all the other accounts. And even though this is a new series that we're doing here at the Visual Disturbance community, it reminds me that they don't want to be seen. The last episode, we talked about a deer, a doe, couldn't even see the creature. It's almost like there's some type of technological or vexing of the veil of certain animals or creatures. Even us, we can't see these things coming in and out of whatever gate, portal, whatever type of diabolical harmonics or frequency radius that we can't resonate with our peripheral, our perception. It has to be like that. It has to be going down. It just has to be. Just got to be. Throwing rocks on top of the roofs, clanking off the roof, thinking it's children, but it's not. That was the last episode. And it just makes you wonder. It's highly compelling, highly interesting. So let's just get into another one. So here we are with the October 1993 event. Let's jump into another one. What do you say, folks? Let's jump into another one. So there we go. He's in Versailles, Kentucky. Let's go to Shelbyville. Let's go to Shelbyville, Kentucky, not too far from Indiana. Let's get into the Shelbyville, Kentucky area a little bit further out. Let's go to Baghdad. Let's just see the 2012 time frame here. Let's check it out. Talking about time travel. Hello out there. Welcome to Visual Disturbance community. 2012. Season summer. August the 12th. Shelby County. I've actually been up this way not too long ago. Location not too far from Jacksonville, Kentucky. So we have Baghdad here. Highway 12. And here's the account. 2:30 a.m. I first heard a howl at 2:30 a.m. less than 50 yards behind my house in the tree line. I walked out to the porch with the spotlight and searched the tree line, but could not see anything. Less than 5 minutes later, I heard a howl again and got immediately another howl less than 40 yards from me. I still could not see anything. Then the next howl was behind the garage and howled twice. Then they eased back into the house and quietly closed the door screen. That's going to hold back an 8-footer. Suddenly, these small rocks. Here we go, another account. These small rocks hitting the porch roof. Same exactly as what we talked about in episode 1 of this series. The porch. It lasted about 7-8 minutes. And I went to the bedroom to wake up my wife and tell her what was happening. She, of course, didn't believe what I was telling her. With 5 to 10 minutes, she heard 2 howls to the left of the house about what I was telling her. Within 5 to 10 minutes, she heard 2 howls to the left of the house, about 75 yards from the house. No more than 10 minutes later, we both heard 2 more howls across the road around 100 yards. Around 30 minutes later, I heard one of the howls back to the right of the house, about 150 yards out. Quiet rest of the morning. I know that the coyotes sound like. There was no coyote. This made the hair stand up on the back of my neck. There's some key notes here to report. Also noticeable, they have never had another encounter last fall as far as the deer hunting. Most scared I have been in my life. Same area behind my house. Other witnesses, me and my wife, is what they reported. The conditions, once again, 2:30 a.m., nighttime, cool, clear night, no moon. And then the environment, tree line, open field, etc. It's interesting, beyond compelling, and beyond out of this world. Craziness. The Bluegrass State. Home of the Kentucky Derby. And we got all this stuff going on in this event. This encounter was in 2012. So, what else? What else we got here, Brian? What else we got? So let's check it out. Let's just see what else we got. Let's just continue on this journey together. Let's just continue on. So, do you believe in Bigfoot? There's a little plug in. If you do, comment in the comment box below. Let me know what you think. So let's get on one more, show one more, two more before we jump off here. This episode 2 of Visual Disturbance. Mind you, I've been all over this place. All over the state of Kentucky. I've been all over it. Used to work a milk route. All over it. And you hear a lot of stories, rock shelters, Indian mounds, etc. It makes you just go, It makes you wonder what's really going on. Episode 1, we talked about sulfur. We talked about a reeking smell, a stench, a musky odor that would linger for a long period of time. And there was accounts for people, assumptions of boundaries that they would talk about, where there are tree lines, etc. And they would smell a stench that would go a long period of distance. So it's interesting. Let's go to Dry Ridge. Let's go to Dry Ridge, Kentucky. Dry Ridge it is. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Dry Ridge, Kentucky. Let's zoom in. Dry Ridge, Kentucky, 1999, question mark all over the place. We're going to click on it. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got here. So this one is in Grant County. The report is between 1999 and year 2000. The season is fall. And it's 30 to 40 miles south of Cincinnati, Ohio. Interstate 75. Been up and done it many, many times. Many, many times. Here's what they observed. I saw something along Interstate 75 south of Kentucky, maybe 30 to 40 minutes south of Cincinnati. I don't recall exactly where along the highway I was at the time, somewhere after the 3 lanes had been reduced to 2, and it happened 4 to 5 years ago, in 1999 or 2000. I don't recall the time or the year it was, maybe autumn. It never occurred to me to report it, and I just found out this site, so I thought I would decide that it has any merit. It was late, between 1 or 2 a.m., here we go, here's the time. And I was heading back to Winchester, Kentucky, 20 miles east of Lexington on I-64, know it very well, after a visit to PA. No other traffic was on the road at the time, and I sighted what appeared to be a large animal standing in a recess along a road cut, which I wouldn't have seen but for my headlights. There was no street lights or other sources of light. It stood erect and was covered in dark fur like a bear, which I imagine it must be. But it had no muzzle like a bear. I wonder if I could have been an elk because it was on the right height. It wasn't the right height. But I could reconcile it elk with other body features. Man, you're talking about scenarios from the demon world. This is what this is describing. How eerie and creepy. It was only in a view of 3 to 4 seconds and was not moving, only looking directly at my car as I sped by. I passed within 15 to 20 feet of it, which is pretty crazy in my opinion. That's wild. I looked directly at it, and it had an angry expression on its face. It made my hair stand on end. Of course, look, we have a whole another account. This is 1993. Here we go. We got 8 years difference in time frame, and here we go, another account. My hair standing up on my head. Isn't that interesting? How much more compelling can we get here when it comes to the Bigfoot narrative? The Bigfoot, Sasquatch, harmonics, frequency, hair follicles standing up on your head, all that good stuff, right? It's from emanating a frequency. Let's continue on. I looked directly at it, an angry impression on its face, hair stood up, all that. I usually didn't travel to Cincinnati when I lived in Winchester. I live in Lexington now, and in a sequent trip along the stretch of the road, I have been unable to find the exact spot at which I sighted it. Perhaps the roadway has since been modified to eliminate overhanging rocks. There has been a lot of road work along the stretch of the last few years, and I wonder if it was just a play of shadows from the headlights that gave me the illusion of something standing there. But the shape of the shadow changes as the light's source moves, and this figure did not change. I was not sleepy. I work a night shift, so I'm usually awake at that time. A reasonable certain I saw something, not sure what. In summary, Whatever I saw was 6.5 to 6 feet tall, dark brown to black fur, bipedal posture, angry demeanor, and it appeared to be holding arms, paws up in the shoulder height, as thought it were a tree, or striking some pose intent to frighten me, which was very effective. My initial impression was that it struck a very human posture. I heard no sound, and it did not move. No other witnesses in this account. And here we go. Time and conditions: late night, no light, but my car light, headlights, no rain, snow, road was dry. And then just the environment itself, it appeared to be massive sandstone in the area and wooded. I just wanted to point that out. And I thought it was really strange. Strange account here for a Bigfoot. Very strange indeed. Let's move on to the next one. That was Dry Ridge, Kentucky, close to that area in Grant County. Let's back out. Let's go a little bit more. Let's do one more. Let's go down to Danville, Kentucky. What about Danville? What do you think about Danville, folks? If you've ever been there, it's grown. Population's grown. The city is kind of going through a growing stage. Let's click on it and see what this one's got going on. So this takes you to the Bigfoot Research Organization. And Boy Scout observed a young creature. This was in Boyd County and City, Perryville, Kentucky, 1991. Around 9:30 p.m. Description: the encounter. I was a Boy Scout in a camp out during the reenactment of the Civil War Battle of Perryville. I was 11. The older scouts took us out to hunt snipes. Imagine that. That's weird. That's like a huge deal anymore. Well, it used to be. Not anymore, but it used to be a big thing back in the 90s. And there's just a dark history with that. It's something I can't get behind. It's just weird. Just the whole thing's weird. Okay. We were walking through the field along the edge of the heavy wooded area in the dark, maybe 9:30 to 10. My shoe became untied, so I yelled to my friends to wait up. I heard a rustle in the edge of the tree line. I shot my flashlight toward the noise. There stood 3-foot elk. I think that's what it says. Or maybe it says Ewok. That's strange. Is this even real? Hello. I stared at it for maybe 5 seconds, then I yelled at my friends. It wasn't until years after I realized that I saw a baby Sasquatch. Okay? It took someone telling me a Sasquatch story that the one to resurface and spark a Bigfoot obsession. I had another experience years ago, but nothing like this. I still see it. I still see its eyes. That's strange. Maybe that's how George Lucas came up with the pre-predicted programming of the Ewok characters. Maybe that's what he modeled after the Ewoks. They're little tiny Sasquatch characters. Imagine that. So a follow-up. This is interesting. Very interesting. So this gentleman's name's Scott. And big shout out to an individual I'm getting ready to shout out to because he's going to be part of the Spiracy Con speaker list. And ironically, I did not know. I've not pre-read this. I had no pre-information. I just picked a random place, and sure enough, here we go. Charlie Raymond, investigator, Kentucky Bigfoot Research. Charlie Raymond is going to be a speaker at Conspiracy Con. I kid you not. I didn't play this out. This just happened. It was just the drop of the hat. I clicked on attack, and there you go. So here's a follow-up. January 26, 2019. This gentleman from Boyd County, named Scott. Scott drove a few hours to meet in person. I found him highly intelligent, sincere, and very credible. He said the scout leader took us over to hunt snipes. As many as you know, this is a common prank to play on young kids. Like I said, it's kind of sick and just weird. The goal was to see how many victims would remain in the dark, with a pillowcase laid upon the ground, a flashlight, and calls, "Here, snipe, snipe, snipe," all that, right? As the boy ran with excitement, Scott stopped to tie his shoe. As he went to bend down, he never heard of the tree line he heard something in the tree line 15 yards from the position. When Scott shined his flashlight in the trees, he was stunned to see a hairy 3-foot tall creature standing on 2 legs. Ewoks from Star Wars, right? I'm not throwing down on this story. I just think it's interesting that, like I keep saying, alluding to that, George Lucas might have had some, let's just say, preconceived knowledge. Scott stopped to tie his shoe, all that good stuff. The 3-foot character with 2 legs, it was covered in dark brown fur, had a huge head, and his large eyes reflected yellow, describing the hair. Scott recalled it was very furry. He also added, the face was just a little lighter than a body. Not light brown, not dark. The nose seemed small and flatter than what I typically think of a Bigfoot. The mouth didn't stand up, didn't stand out, lips closed tight. It was not hiding behind a tree like most Bigfoot sightings. Instead, only its right arm and shoulder were behind the tree, adjacent to the tree. It stood facing Scott. It had a flat face. It had shoulders, so most likely not a bear. Being an 11-year-old boy at the time, it reminded him of an Ewok from Star Wars. Scott immediately yelled for his friends and ran fast as he could. Scott remembered. The other scouts laughed at me. I didn't tell my scout leader. This was the account of 1991 in Perryville, Kentucky. And this was investigated by Charlie Raymond, investigator. Like a big shout out to Charlie. He does a good job with Bigfoot research around here in Kentucky realm. So big shout out to Charlie Raymond. And we'll be seeing him on Conspiracy Con, all that good stuff, in August 22nd, 23rd. So big shout out to him. And that is the conclusion of that random, kid you not, random tack that I clicked on Google Earth. And ironically, it had Charlie Raymond's name on it. Well, let's go one more. I'm feeling it. I want to go there. Let's just get it. Let's just go. One more. Let's go to Bardstown. Bardstown, Kentucky. Got all kinds of Jim Beam distilleries, all that good stuff and all that. Right? I can throw my Kentucky twang, Kentucky slang out there. Let's get a closer look at this Bardstown encounter. Okay. 2006. Looks like in July of 2006. Let's get it. Let's go into it. Nelson County. Nelson County, if my memory serves me correct, they have quite a few, let's just say, large bones. Structures, rock shelters, mounds, you have it. You name it. 2006, year 2006 of this account. Summer, July, Kentucky, Nelson County. It's the nearest town's Bardstown, Highway 49. Here's what was observed. It was in July 2006, not sure what day, about 9:30 p.m. Here we go. I was walking from my garage to the house when I heard a terrible screaming at the holler at the back of our property. I heard it again about 30 seconds later. I have heard coyotes several times, but this sound was like nothing I've ever heard. It sent chills down my spine. I mentioned to my son a few days ago, and he said, "You've heard that too?" I asked him what he heard, and he said about 3 weeks ago he was walking from the garage to the house around 9:30 or 10 at night and heard a terrible screaming from the same location. He's a very skeptical person and never thought to mention it until I did. I remember being back at the property in the location of the winter in 1989, burning some brush. I sat down and heard a loud grunting sound about 20 feet behind me. I thought it was probably just a buck, but I never saw anything, and I ran away like a deer would have. Also in the summer of 1988, my wife and I went back to the property at night just to go a little exploring. We had just moved there and were curious what it would look like at night. We heard something moving in the cedar trees. It's just interesting to me. There's a lot of cedar accounts during all these programs. Every time I plug in and click on one, it's just, there's always a cedar thicket or cedar tree. Strange. It spooked us and we went back to the house. Whatever it was followed us a parallel on the path of the cedars. We never actually saw what it was. And there was accounts, other witnesses, my wife, the son, all that good stuff. And then here we go, the environment. In the creek, there was trees, standing water, cedars, all that. Thick, standing cedars, and a waterfall. Once again, like I alluded before, at the episode 1. Here's episode 2, so go back and watch episode 1 if you get an opportunity. I remember seeing the Delaware and the Allegheny River in Delaware, the account of the reptilians and these large, like giant beings coming out. There was accounts that they came out of the water. They literally walked up out of the water, and people called it like a portal or something to Niagara Falls and all these different things. Like all kinds of Native American culture was blended in with it. But it was just interesting to me that there was these creatures descripting and the comparable to a reptilian and a Sasquatch like giant Nephilim, right? So this account in Essex County, strange, no rock pebbles, no rocks thrown around, but wonder if they seen Bigfoot. That's the question. Wonder if they did. Just wonder. Let's back up here. Well, the question is, we went to a few locations here in Kentucky. We couldn't even scratch the surface because there's so many tacks everywhere. But until next time, we're going to jump back in it again here and do another finding Bigfoot in Kentucky. More than likely, I'm going to go back to the Bluegrass State one more time, finding Bigfoot on Google Earth. And I hope you join me for the next one. And hit all the links in the description below. Check out spiracycon.com, and I'll leave you with this. Do you believe in Bigfoot? What kind of experiences have you all had? Is there something out there that you would choose to share? Comment in the comment box. Let me know. And welcome to the Visual Disturbance channel. And appreciate everybody being here and tentatively always being with me. I hope y'all are enjoying these new series of Bigfoot finding with Google Earth imagery. I'm really digging it. I think it's super cool. And I love Google Earth imagery. I always have. I always thought it was really cool. And let me know if you think. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you like it. But with that being said, check out the links in the description. Hit that like button. Share this thing out. Hit the notification bell. And welcome to Visual Disturbance community. And I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody will just have a great week. I will see you on the next one. I hope you're enjoying these. And I'm going to do an episode 3 coming soon. So do you believe in Bigfoot? Do you believe in these accounts that I talked about today? If you're from Kentucky, let me know if you hear any about rumors, more modern time, anything up to modern time of 2025. I really would like to report on it. But yeah, Google Earth imagery. I'm literally looking at Google Earth, aerial view, checking on places. I can't believe this stuff is documented. There's so much stuff. You should see Alaska. But we're going to stay in Kentucky for a while, Bluegrass State, and then maybe we'll move off to other states in the circumference of Kentucky. But yeah, welcome to the channel. Bigfoot research on the rise, it seems. The Nephilim is coming back again. It seems like we're living in the days of Noah, but it seems very strange and peculiar when you have inner something like portal-like dissolving in thin air, and Bigfoot's walking around, getting hit with a car, doesn't know the car was coming. Deer walking around it, doesn't even know that the Bigfoot's there. There's some type of technology. There's something going on. Bigfoot, we can only speculate so much. But Bigfoot has some type of cloaking mechanism. He smells like sulfur, and we don't know. So we don't know. We're going to keep digging down and kind of, like peeling back the onion and going always down this rabbit hole with Google Earth imagery and finding more Bigfoot. And maybe one day we'll go to like 1700s to 1800s next time. So until next time, Visual Disturbance, I'm out of here. Thanks for being here. See you on the next one.
Got one that can see.